Well, Josh, last week as we kicked off the show, we had some breaking coaching news, and this week it's more of the same, and it's coming out of the same division as it is official. Mike Tomlin has resigned. He has stepped down after 19 seasons as the head coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers on a night where we have so much to talk about. Let's get right into it.
Think about this for a second. Three of the four teams in the AFC North are going to have new head coaches going into the 2026 season. The only team that is going to remain the same is the one everybody expected to make a change. That, of course, being the Cincinnati Bengals.
And honestly, they should at this point. Why not? Let's just refresh in the whole AFC North.
Like, what the hell is going on with the AFC North? I don't get it. But it's important to note the Steelers did not fire Mike Tomlin. So they still retained his rights. So I expect this to be a Sean Payton type of situation where he spends a year as a TV analyst and then the following season he ends up getting traded from Pittsburgh to whoever.
I'll throw two scenarios out there. One is, who's to say he doesn't like TV and never returns to coaching? Remember Bill Cowher, that was the situation, and Bill Cowher still at CBS right now. And the other is, I know it's very unlikely, and I doubt both teams would do it, but boy, wouldn't it be fun if the Ravens and the Steelers swapped coaches?
I could never see Tomlin wearing the purple and black, and I could never see Harbaugh wearing the black and gold. No way.
I do think there is a scenario out there where Mike Tomlin does wear the purple and black next season because of Lamar Jackson. It's been reported that Lamar Jackson and John Harbaugh had a strenuous relationship there at the end in Baltimore, but it's also been weirdly reported that Lamar Jackson and Mike Tomlin have a very close relationship and that Mike Tomlin would want to coach Lamar Jackson. And that was out even a few weeks ago.
So here's the thing. If you want to hire Mike Tomlin as your head coach, you're not going to be interviewing him. He's going to be interviewing you.
Well, I'll say this. I don't even know if Mike Tomlin has to interview. Especially if it's in Baltimore, I think you just call him and go, Mike, do you want the job? And how much money do you want? You get full autonomy, et cetera, et cetera. Like, I don't think he would jump at the chance to go to the Giants. I think if he does want to go somewhere, it'd be a warmer place. I don't think Miami's the fit for him. I actually think because he was a former defensive backs coach before he went to Pittsburgh, if, let's say, next year, Tampa Bay were to open up, I think that's a spot for him. I don't think Atlanta has the quarterback. And I think Tomlin, after what he went for in Pittsburgh, which last night was just the epitome of the Pittsburgh Steelers season of they really don't have an offensive threat outside of DK Metcalf and Kenneth Gainwell. Their offensive line is bad. The Steelers have been in purgatory now for a decade, you could argue. And that's part of the reason is Tomlin has not gotten the quarterback right. And so I think in his next stop, if there is going to be a next stop, he will absolutely want to have a bona fide quarterback the way Justin Herbert was when Jim Harbaugh got there. And I think Baltimore fits that description. But again, I do agree with you. I think he's going to take a year off.
Yeah. And if he goes to TV, people are going to listen to him because, yes, it faltered in Pittsburgh in the later years. I get it. But still, he knows what he's doing. Like, did you expect a lot of those Steeler teams to end up going 9-8, 10-7?
Well, Josh, I mean, the standard is the standard.
No, I don't disagree with that. But with some of those teams, you're like, how did he get that team to 9-8?
Especially like the Mason Rudolph team, the Kenny Pickett team. Yeah,
That's what I mean.
but I mean, let's be honest. The Steelers, do you know they have not had a lead in the playoffs in the second half in a decade?
Yeah. Um, I think they've lost now 7 straight playoff games, I
Yeah.
believe.
By the way, their best deficit in that 7-ish game span was losing 21-0.
Yeah, I think they've lost most of their playoff games by an average of 21, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Grandizer, I see your question. We're gonna get to that in the next topic, by the way. But yeah, I mean, I just think a lot, like I said with Baltimore last week, it was time, right? It was time for Mike Tomlin. It's time for John Harbaugh. And it is time for this AFC North to come into 2025 football, which is offensive football. The Chicago Bears resisted offensive football for 40 years of their franchise's existence. And they got an offensive minded head coach who was the number one coach in the market, and they are now in Super Bowl contention. To me, the Steelers need to pivot that direction, but I do not think they will because of the reporting by Albert Breer, which came out a couple weeks ago, is to be believed. It does sound like to me, Rams defensive coordinator Chris Shula, if he wants the job, this job is his. And I don't think the Steelers are going to have a long coaching search. They'll fill the Rooney rule because they have to, which I don't understand why you force teams to bring in coaches that you have no chance to hire just because of that rule. But they're going to fulfill the rule. And then I believe Chris Shula will be the new head coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Most likely, you know, it's crazy that Harbaugh and Tomlin are both gone. It definitely changes what the Steelers Ravens rivalry is going to look like. Does it change my fandom for it? No, it's still Steelers Ravens. I'm just going to have to get used to new faces on the sideline for each team. But again, think about this. The Cincinnati Bengals are the only team keeping their head coach in Zach
Yeah.
Taylor. That's
So
pathetic.
so I have two quick questions for you. Number one, if you're Pittsburgh, I think you do this. I think you trade TJ Watt. I think if I'm Pittsburgh, I try to tank next year. I try to get as close to the number one pick as possible, and I try to pick my quarterback for 2027. Do I think they're going to do that? No, I don't. But the other thing is, Josh, as a Browns fan, does this change your way of thinking now as who you want as your new head coach now that the Ravens and Steelers both have openings?
I mean, you know my feeling. I didn't want it to have to hire a new head coach. I wanted to keep Kevin Stefanski. So, you know, and with the Ravens and Steelers both having openings now, it just makes me feel even stronger about that we should have kept Stefanski.
That's interesting because, to be honest with you, I actually think that this makes this division more exciting. I think the division needed a refresh. Again, I like Zach Taylor, but I think he could go too. I think that this division has been so stuck in hard nosed, cold weather football since 2002 when this division was reformed that I think this is a good chance now for all four of these teams to reset and get into 2025 football, which is more offensive football.
You very well could be right, which that would be a big change for Baltimore because Baltimore has always been, a very defensive minded team with the likes of Ray Lewis, Terrell Suggs, Ed Reed, amongst others. And
They have pivoted though with Lamar Jackson. Pittsburgh has not.
that part is true, yes. Think about this. They had the most expensive defense. And
They still do, and it's not even close.
yes. And it's not even like the Texans really did anything offensively last night. You know, it was more so Houston's defense.
And they didn't have to. The Texans could have kneeled the ball down and won the game last night.
Yeah. If I'm Pittsburgh, I don't bring Aaron Rodgers back.
Well, no. If Tomlin came back, I did believe Aaron was coming back. Now that Tomlin's not there, I think we did see Aaron Rodgers' last snap last night.
I think Will Howard should get an opportunity. We saw what he could do as a quarterback at Ohio State. I think you bring him in. I think him with DK would be a really good duo. You would actually use Pat Fryermuth. You get a wide receiver number 2 in there, and you see what Will Howard can do.
Well, Will Howard was a late round draft pick. He